Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Analogue, a Hate Story. As you can hear, I'm still sick. I'm at the coughing phase, so in tomorrow or the next day I'm gonna be good enough, at least to talk normally. I won't have this fucking shitty baritone. So, when we last left off, we were discussing something. I don't specifically remember. But I do remember that we were about to listen to whatever Hyun Ai has to say on the matter. So let's see. I don't know about you, but I had a really hard time reading that the first time. Can you imagine that? It's even as if I knew her, I didn't even know either existed. And I was alive. I mean, sure, their mother mentioned that she'd had daughters before in a sort of abstract way, but she never told me so much as their names, let alone, well, anything. Anyway, none of that was my original plan. My point was, now do you see what I mean? When Mute talks about a happy marriage, that's what she's talking about. It's not as if... God, this game is the worst for me right now. It's not as if I'm the only woman to have a horrible marriage. It wasn't my fault. That's just what happens. That's normal. Oh, and you don't have anything to say on the specific matter? Hang on. I think it was this one. No, you don't have anything to say there either. Scroll up. Okay. Not sure really what to do here. I've gotten to a point where I don't even know how to proceed. Oh, excuse me. Wrong one. Oh, there's shit in block 6. Okay, well, we'll work our way towards that. Block 4. Hey, a pack of idiots. Oh, shit, okay. Alright, so you have stuff to say here, so let's hear what you have to say. I'm really sorry, please don't get mad, but I don't really understand what you're looking for. Me neither, really. You're just not getting it, and it's my fault, but I can't find anything that seems relevant. Sorry. No, it's fine. I also don't know what I'm looking for. I'm mostly just curious on your opinion on this matter. Okay, that's the same thing. What am I supposed to... What's the next step? I mean, you keep being highlighted, but I don't know what else fucking... What do you have to say on this? Yeah, nothing. Okay, well, I'm glad. I'm glad we could have this moment together. Let's try block 5. Month of good fortune. What say you on this matter? The man wrote was of little value. It all reads like that. Boring stuff, obnoxiously patriarchal. Are you sure you really want more from Kim Jong-soo? No, I guess. A smart call. Fucking, I'm just so curious what you have to say on the matter. Apparently nothing. Wife. And now that I know who's who... Oh. Okay, let's see what you have to say on this. Huh? Oh, You want more from Kim Hyuk-suk, wife? Do you want the reply from her... Or do you want the reply from her mother? Let's get more from her, I guess. Very well, I can give you a couple from his wife. Here you are. Yay, more information. Okay, no new stuff. Let's go to the block index. Hey, there's more in 6 and 9. I'm glad. Alright, so there's new shit in here. Hey, right. I forgot that this was a thing. You're Smith from Mute. Right. Perfectly good conversation. Troublemaker, no way. Oh, right, I forgot that this was a thing. Oh, written by Mute? Whoops, I'm sorry. I don't really know how I got that in there. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. Sorry, none of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. Don't remove that! Not normally this much of a klutz, I swear. Don't remove that, though. That's... What's this? Oh, right. Okay, so... Access the logs. Log 6. Hey, it was removed. I'm glad. Dear Diary, it's been forever since I cared enough to write anything down. This is year 321. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry, I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Apparently for a girl my age, none of these things are really all that weird. The queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I first slept with dearest husband. I'd been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous. And I'd just have to endure it. She outranked me, and I would simply have to kowtow to her if need be. I haven't had to yet, though. We had tea together, and she at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get... She asked me after we finished the tea. I shrugged. Do trust me, I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been there through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what would be expected from any good girl, so I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry, am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. Wasn't sure how to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that it was a segue into her being vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband. I shrugged as she continued. I just know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled, and I felt almost like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of. But do tell me how it was. I didn't even think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since waking up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, and now my queen, warned me that it would be bad. It would be a duty and nothing more. But I honestly did love it. Would have let him keep me up all night if he had the energy for it. I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please be at ease. That is perfectly alright too. So long as you know it's just for him, there's absolutely no shame in that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive-aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject. She said that she was really worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad. So you enjoyed sex. Cool. I mean, that's allowed. So, you can see she was kind. She was good to me. She really was. I take it you want to know more about my marriage, then? What are you interested in? More her, I guess. And you're in luck. She's in all of those entries. Well, she was the only thing in my life worth writing about, for the most part. There's one in there that she, there's one in that there, what? There's one in that there that she wrote herself, fucking weird typo, about our husband, and you can see for yourself, she's a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself, well, I admire what you can see for yourself. And, well, just read them, alright? You'll see for yourself. Boop. Oh, nothing to say, huh? Okay. Why did she have to die? Well, that ain't no good. Yeah. Dear Diary, attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days where it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick. Nothing will change that. I'm gonna take a drink of my drink. But it's not so... that hurt the inside of my mouth for a reason. Not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires. And he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not as if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love, well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I ever got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but well, I was young before I got put in stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. I mean, for some, sure, but a lot of people actually do love each other in marriage. Especially at first. I was young, As long as I do what I'm told, I'm not mistreated like I was by my sister, and sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Jaihaz talks with me. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on those days I'm too feverish to sit for too long. And she just talks to me as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening while she was brushing my hair. I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now, she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me. So, as I'm guessing, apparently you learned to not talk anymore? I mean, alright, I guess. The more she lives in the house, the more I'm confused by the mystery that is the pale bride. No wonder why my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply a pale beauty, she's always too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. Seems to hang off his every word, and it turns out is actually so completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Okay. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I have observed her writing to herself in perhaps what may be a diary. When I asked what it was, she wouldn't say, but was quick to hide it. I could not recognize a single character on her screen, however. There, it seemed simplified compared to regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system just for herself. It is very strange. It's almost as if people don't progress throughout history, and things get more complicated and shit. Oh no. Also, current Korean was invented recently, like the writing system. Specifically so it can be simplified, so it's easier to understand. That was the whole intention of creating the Korean alphabet. At least that's what I've heard. That might just be South Korea. I don't actually know. I've just heard that they made an entire alphabet that was, simplified. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her, curious. Seemingly she had. Did you read them? Her response was worried, as if she was scared that I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry, I had assumed. Are you able to read? That was when I found out that she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I'm likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history. Bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything, is just too much. It's just far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make me happy. This troubles me. Excuse me. Alright, what do you have to say, my friend? Of course I wasn't illiterate. I could read just fine. Just not their stupid Chinese-based characters. Okay, gotcha. I mean, I can understand them now. Everything except my diary entries is translated from them. It's such a dumb way of writing, though. It makes everything come out so stilted compared to proper Korean. Well, anyway, you're showing me that because you're interested in her admonitions, right? I don't know what that word means. I'm more interested in your opinion on the matter, honestly. I'm not really sure I understand what you're looking for, I'm afraid. I'm really sorry, I wish I could help. I wanted you to ask, well, what are you looking for then? Well, fuck. Can I show the message and get a different answer? Yeah. Yes. And here, I'll give you the letter she sent. They'll give all the details, even the ones she was too embarrassed to... You can probably guess which part she cut out. It's pretty obvious. It's the incest thing that she never told me about at the time. Having read about it now, I don't really blame her. And, well, here, you can see what I mean for yourself. Alright, now to the next one. Dear Diary, I've been thinking a lot about how close my death must be now. I gotta sneeze, and it's right in my my right nostril. Lately I've been getting prone to fainting spells. This probably goes right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I've still got over a year left to live, maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18, although maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that, I don't know. But if he was right, and if I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now. So there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness, even if I could explain. I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far, hiding it has been mostly working, although I did have one of my fainting spells while my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me, though. I don't think he cared. That's real unfortunate. That's some bad implications right there. I know all I write about these days is sex with my husband and the conversations with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess. But those two things are all that's really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course. They're just not that interesting. And that's about it. Spoken like a true 16-year-old. Anyway. I hate. Well, at least this is the perfect place to hate. I'm gonna pop another Cepacil because my last one just fucking dissolved. Anyway, the Queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. We were having tea together one afternoon. She was talking about nothing in particular, and she asked me some question that I just shrugged to. I hope you do not take this the wrong way, she then said, but there is something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I've ever heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I didn't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it, to bringing up the subject. I wasn't able to, yet that wasn't the right question. So I shook my head and hoped that her next question would be. It was, then can I, she said uncertainly, are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was happy that she'd finally figured it out. I smiled and was about to nod enthusiastically, but suddenly I stopped. What if she thought less of me if I said yes? If she knew that the reason I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline. Those were the things people liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? I was so terrified, I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I said no, I'm sure she would have asked to hear what my voice sounded like, and I'd be forced to disobey. And if I nodded, then she'd know I wasn't really just trying hard to be a good wife, and I'm sure she would talk to my husband about it, so he'd know too. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking of how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You do not have to answer. Please do not. Do forget that I even asked. Aww. You know, nobody ever noticed that until her. Nobody cared. Nobody ever thought any of it. Anything. Or cared enough about me to find out. But she did care. She actually paid attention. She was great. That's Stockholm setting in right there. Arguing the Emperor. My concern over the pale bride's condition has grown. Lately, she has seemed to grow even quieter, if such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Well, perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far on my part. I tried asking her directly, and she seemed too scared to answer. That simply makes me more suspicious, and I should like to know why. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wished to speak to the woman of the Kim family house to see if I could find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, don't. They're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. Oh, excuse me. The politics of this situation far too delicate for you to be meddling with. I cleared my throat. He might be both my husband and emperor, but I would not let that stop me from being bold. Excuse me. My dear husband, I don't care, I said flatly. I'm worried about the girl, and I believe that talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is of no concern to me. I don't see why it matters. She's the perfect woman. Why, are you jealous? He said, rolling his eyes at me. A gesture that he's only been able to use on me and his servants ever since becoming emperor. Nobody had the patience for it when he was a child, and I don't have it now either. Inho, dearest, do you believe that the well-being of your wife is a political matter, or even an external matter? I asked. He didn't. So would you say it's a domestic matter? I asked. He reluctantly agreed. That it is a domestic matter is the responsibility of the woman of the house, is it not? Please tell me you are obviously more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't. Fine, he said, but just because it is your responsibility does not mean I can't overrule you. He left silent, the follow-up. I don't have to take this from you. You do know my concerns are valid, though, I replied. If you value my opinion, you will let me speak to the Kim mother. There was a pause, then he raised his hand in his audience. Very well, do it. It's women's business. I don't want... we're over time, actually. I don't want a part in it, regardless. Then he shook his head. Why must all our conversations be arguments? I smiled to him and left. He already knows the answer. Because you're fucking douche. Okay, let's see what you have to say, and then I'll call it here. I never knew about that when we were alive. Like most things, I only found out after I took over the ship's computer. It just amazes me even more. Look at her. She's a woman who actually stood up to a man and won. She wasn't clumsy like I was, and, well, I mean, you were fucking lethally ill. She knew how to work it from her position. Isn't that so amazing? You know what? Personally, I do agree. People who are in a dire situation and can't change it, but, like, work through the rules to get what they want anyway, I've always respected that sort of mentality. I've sort of tried to adopt it myself in some cases. Obviously, I don't have the same sort of lifestyle that's going on in this fucking game, because holy shit. But there are some things that I'm not allowed to do, like, society-wise. And I try to... Why did she have to die? Right. So, I'm going to call it here. Hey, I'm like 3/4 of the way done. Alright, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I, of course, have been Keywii. You've been great, too. And you have yourself a delightful day. Goodbye!